Welcome back to another edition of Space Invaders TV, folks. It's Rashawn. I'm your guy, Rashawn, aka Looker. It is March the 24th, 2022, and I want to give some updates, and then I want to touch on some things as well. First, I want to update on the Leandro case. If you know, last week, if you watched the video that I put out last week on the 17th, I spoke about the Leandro case, and I'm not gonna go back down that path. But if you want to see that video when I spoke about the Leandro case, and what was all going on and taking place with the state really just like dragging their feet and like holding back and not wanting to abide by their own constitution, meaning the state of North Carolina is violating its own constitutional right to public school students. And then mainly Leandro case started out as let me just go back when some people may say, well, what is the Leandro case? Like, how did that name come about? The Leandro case, it started in '94, okay? Real quick, real briefly. And it's named after a young man. He was an 8th grader out of Hope County. A student from Rayford, North Carolina. And his name was Rob Leandro. He was in the 8th grade when this case was filed in '94. And because he was a minor at the time, his mother, Kathy, filed a suit on his behalf. And the Leandro family was the lead plaintiff in the original lawsuit, because a lot of the Leandro case came about because a lot of the rural counties were being underfunded and not receiving the adequate textbooks and just funding that was needed, period. Okay. So that's how this case came about. And so now we're at a point now where it's been 30 years since the filing of this case. And there's 3 judges. The judge, and I find it quite strange that most times I speak about things, I see people start moving and shifting. And if you look at my numbers now, I don't have all of these thousands of views. But one thing people have to understand about the internet, it's not about the amount of people who see it. It's about who sees it. I'm going to repeat that again. It's not about, you see, people, this internet age and people looking for views and things of that nature. Yeah, a lot of people go off of views and everything. But when you're speaking on certain topics that touch the nerve of those who are attempting whatever acts and whatever they're trying to sway the people and endort an idea, when you're speaking on serious issues, it doesn't matter how many people see the video. It's who sees it that things will start to change, because they don't know when that video will take off, or when that, when it'll actually, what they quote, go viral. My thing is, anytime you put footage out on the internet, it's viral. So people think, oh, when you get all of these numbers, it's viral. When you put it out into the atmosphere, when you put it out into the web, World Wide Web. Once you put it on the World Wide Web, it's out there. It's already viral. People have this misconception of like, oh, you need you need views. So I like to wonder, like, I spoke about the judge last week, Judge David Lee, on the Leandro case. He took over after Judge Manning stepped down. Well, not stepped down, he retired after 19 years, and David Lee came in, Superior Court Judge from North Carolina, and took over the case. And he was making, you know, he seen the faults and the flaws, and he was trying to, you know, make it get Carolina, you know, get the state to make it right. So I believe that Judge David Lee, especially after I spoke, and then especially after a documentary was put out, I believe last week on the 16th, last Wednesday, and it was only seen, the documentary concerning the Leandro case was put out on the 16th, and only if you had, you know, WARL and Wilmington residents were able to see it. I don't know why it wasn't like a statewide where the entire state can see it. Maybe in the future, the very near future, maybe the entire state, it will be available on the networks across the state of North Carolina and across the country. I believe that once those who viewed that, I think that the state move to try to, you know, prolong this thing even longer by, okay, forcing David Lee to step down, Judge David Lee, and then they put a new judge in there, Michael L. Robinson, as the new trial judge to oversee the Leandro case. Okay, and I'm like, come on, man, this is just prolonging this whole issue even longer. But these are the things that happen in court systems. They'll do these things, they pass and give them buy themselves more time. The Leandro case has become a real political situation here. You know, it's become real, you know, like, and it's just it's sad, because when you look at the bigger picture, and as I spoke about it before, people they have brought the politics into education. It didn't have to be. Politics was a part of it because political wise, like, the funding comes from government and things of that nature. But people started to insert their political views into this education system, and it really tainted and just tore down this education system. And like I spoke before, since the 50s, since Brown versus Board of Education, this education system has been, to be honest with you, it hasn't been a real solid fair to me since, if you go back and just look at history, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, moving on. So I just wanted to give an update on that to let everyone know, like, okay, so now it's almost 30 years and we have a third judge presiding over the Leandro case, you know, which is the case of North Carolina violating its own constitution to the students in public schools K through 12 by not providing sound and basic education as states on North Carolina's constitution. Okay, and I will go back and say this one more time: North Carolina was the first to put that in their constitution. It was a great move, but I guess it was just for politics, because they never abided by their own constitution and then they're still fighting after it was brought to their attention in 1994 by the Leandro family, okay, out of Rayford, North Carolina, okay. They still have not gotten it right. And I believe what actually really happened with it was what actually made them get rid of David Lee too, and then to prolong this thing. One, like I said, the documentary came out about it last Wednesday, the 16th, March the 16th, 2022. Then I spoke about it on March the 17th, 2022. And I just believe, like, people have to understand, politicians, they watch a lot of things. They watch more than you believe and more than you know. They're looking at things that you may not even look at. They're paying attention to anything that has something to do with politics. And a lot of them are paying attention to it because they're trying to see if anyone knows what they know. So I just believe that this is a piece on the table. Like they said, okay, we're gonna eliminate David Lee here because, for one, he made a motion to that 1.7 million that he ordered the state to put towards the education, towards the schools. They didn't like that, and I believe that was just another. This is just another ploy of theirs to get to, okay. And they're like, oh, he can't do that. And I'm saying to myself, he's a judge. How are you going to tell a judge what he can't do? But it's okay for you to insert your political views and your political ways into the education system. But it's not okay for the judge to check you when you're violating the constitutional rights of the students that's on your constitution, your state constitution. It's okay for you to do that, but it's not okay for this judge, Judge David Lee. It's not okay for him to order you to do something and try to right your wrongs. It's not right for him to do that. It's mighty funny when you get and look at politics. They always try to move the goalposts, man. It's always one party trying to move the goalposts to appease them, and but at the same time, people going to jail every day for violating laws, North Carolina's laws. But the state can continue to go on and they can continue to drag this on for 30 years. Show me a person in this state that violated the law in North Carolina and dragged it on for 30 years and still out here in the public's eye. Show me one person. Never seen it on the books. But I see I see the state, what they're doing, and that's wrong. So yeah, now the third judge in almost 30 years overseeing the Leandro case. Is the judge now? Name is Michael L. Robinson. They got rid of the last judge, David Lee, with no explanation, no reason. But if you following and followed the case, you know what time it is. You know what it is. Judge Manning, when he retired, I believe he retired because he just didn't want. Because he wasn't trying to rock the boat and do too much either. And I think, it probably was too many friends in the state that he didn't want to rock the boat. And I just believe at some point he just stepped down just to exit and excuse himself from the whole thing. He just went ahead and retired. Because when Judge David Lee came about, if you read and notice and listen to when I put out the video last week on March 17th, 2022, or even if you were one of the folks and you live in the Wake County area or Wilmington area, you were able to see that documentary on the Leandro case. You probably would see, like, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Just point blank period. So that's that. I just wanted to give an update on that. So, for those who don't know, that's what's going on now. They're on the third judge in almost 30 years. And I just believe that it's the state's ploy to just continue to prolong this case. Continue to prolong this case. And it's a crying shame. And it is a crying shame. You can't no longer continue to keep talking and play this game about education. The state can't be boasting about education when you've violated the rights. Basic sound education is what you had. Article 1, Section 15, what you had on your Constitution, what's on your Constitution. So, yeah, moving on. We tackling local news here today. So we going on to an article here out of Rhino Times, a local publication out of Greensboro, North Carolina, and We're talking about the salaries of the top cities employees. Okay, I want to read this real brief here. I'm gonna read this article here. All right, this is out of the Rhino Times, a local publication in Greensboro, North Carolina. You can find these stands all around, like, different on different corners. A lot of corners downtown, you'll find their publications. In some restaurants, you can find them. Salaries for top city employees continue to rise. This is an article put out by Rhino Times on March 22nd, 2022. It's good to work for the Greensboro City Council. The City Council doesn't have any problem spending other people's money. In this case, tax dollars on their two employees. It is fortunate for the taxpayers that the City Council only has two employees, so the City Council can only spend so much. Before Tuesday, March 15th meeting, the City Council held the annual review of its employees. City Attorney Chuck Watts. Evidently, the review went well because the City Council unanimously approved a raise of $32,000 to $245,000. Watts was making $214,000 a year, so that is a 15% salary increase, and it is retroactive back to December 2021. Damn, ain't even retroactive, which was the review date. It is even more generous when you consider that Watts was hired as a Greensboro City Attorney on June 1st, 2019, at a salary of $190,000 a year. And in the past 2.5 years, Watts' salary has increased by about 30%. The previous city attorney, Tom Caruthers, was being paid $180,000 when he resigned in October of 2018. The city council was just as generous with his other employee, city manager Ty Gioba, if I'm saying it right. If I messed it up, I'm so sorry. Who was hired on February 1st at a salary of $280,000 a year. The previous city manager, David Parrish, was promoted to city manager in June 2018 at a salary of $194,000. In October 2019, Parrish received a 6% raise to $217,000. However, neither the city attorney nor the city manager, despite significant raises, are anywhere close to being Greensboro's highest paid city employee. That distinction goes to Greensboro Coliseum Complex manager Matt Brown, whose salary in 2021 was $368,000 a year. Brown is not a direct employee of the city council, which means the city council does not set his salary. He is an employee of the city manager. All right, hold up. So these people are getting paid all this money. Meanwhile, you have city employees that are protesting, that have been protesting and arguing and going back and forth for years, wanting more money. City employees been wanting more money, and then you have these people. You have county employees want more money, and you have these people, these commissioners. You have everybody else getting paid, but you have people that are boots on the ground that are actually really helping keeping the city clean, and trying to keep the city clean, and their front line. And you have these folks that are getting all this money, and then you tell the people that are on the front line that you can't give them that. You're giving people on the front line peanuts, while you give these people this astronomical numbers, man. Like 200. One lady. Well, if that's a lady, I'm not for Ty G Jobiel. If I'm saying it right, I'm sorry if I messed that up. I hate when somebody messes my name up. But it was who was hired on February the first at a salary of $280,000 a year, man. But you just last year and then previous years, you had city workers protesting for more money. and going to the city council trying to get you guys to pay, like, hey, this isn't right how y'all doing the pay scale here, that we got new people coming in making more than us, and we have been here 15, 18 years. That's not right. That ain't right nowhere. That hasn't ever been right. you know um so that's crazy, man. So for Greensboro and the county, you guys have this thing, you going around, you got this extra funding from the government, and you trying to figure out what to do with the money. Well, we see what you're doing with some of it. Pay your people. Pay your county workers, that the folks that been boots on the ground, that been front lining it throughout the COVID. Pay your city employees that been front lining it. Pay them. How disrespectful. We had our sanitation department through the COVID. Imagine if you didn't have your trash picked up. What that would have looked like. What these streets would have looked like. You know, Big ups to them, man. You have to appreciate. We have to appreciate. See, people don't appreciate things until they don't have it. See, a lot of people, when COVID hit, and I gotta keep going back to that, because COVID pulled the sheet back from a whole lot of stuff, and I'm always, because that was one thing, and I feel like the Most High presented that to the world to let you know who was in charge. I ain't gonna get I ain't gonna go too spiritual. I'm gonna leave it right there. But what I am gonna say is that COVID was presented, and it pulled the sheet back off of everything. See, people had to sit down for a while, and were in quarantine and everything, and some people lost funding. Peace and blessings to those lives that we lost during the very height of COVID. And people are still are fighting for their life, although the country wants to move forward and want to act like it's not over. But that's either here or there. Okay. You can tap into it, but COVID pulled the sheet back on a lot of things, and when people had to sit down and sit home, people got a chance to see how valuable and how much they did miss. Because everybody, anytime you used to talk to somebody, is always, oh man, I gotta do this. Oh man, everything's now. Everybody wanted things now. And then some people still are. They don't get it. But you have to learn, if COVID didn't teach you how to value your time, if you didn't value it before that, and value the people, the places, and the things around you, if that still didn't teach you that during this COVID, I don't know what to tell you. If your mind state hasn't changed, I don't know what to tell you. There's been many events in my short life so far, and that are world changing, and the COVID, that was really life changing right there. A lot of people made life changes. But I ain't gonna go too far. I've talked about this type of things before, but I just want to tap in and just man, show some respect. So you guys got money to pay out like that, but you won't pay your own, the people that are front lining. You won't pay them. What are we doing here? Unreal, man. Unacceptable too. So moving on, but before I move on, Greensboro, Guilford County, man, get your thing together. Everybody's getting these crazy, outrageous raises, commissioners. Everybody's getting these raises, but the people that are on the front line, even helping you guys are doing them dirty. And got the nerve to be asking, when you got this extra funding from the government, what should we do with it? You know what to do with the money. You're going to do what you want to do with it anyway. Stop trying to ask the people like you really care about the response from the people. All right, moving on here. So I want to read this article about County Commissioner Skip Alston. Once again, this is from the Rhino Times. Skip Alston gives up a $250,000 fee to help the Civil Rights Museum. I want to read this article real briefly, and then we're going to, The International Civil Rights Center and Museum is getting a $250,000 discount on the purchase of the old First Citizens building next door because Chairman of the Guilford County Board of Commissioners, Skip Alston, a founder of the museum, is refusing to take a $250,000 commission on the $10.5 million purchase. When Alston was asked about the decision, he acknowledged that as the buyer's agent, the deal, his real estate agency, the Alston Realty Group, was entitled to the commission, but that he was refusing to take the commission so the museum and county getting the building and surrounding property at a lower price. The International Civil Rights Center and Museum is working towards being designated as a World Heritage Site, a highly prestigious landmark designation from the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. The museum at 134 South Elm Street is buying the whole downtown Greensboro block for $10.25 million. The museum also needs the parking lot on the back, on the block, and that lot is included on the purchase. The Civil Rights Museum plans to use the building next door for attic exhibits and more meeting space. The purchase cost would be $10.5 million if Alston hadn't decided to forego his commission. The Guilford County Board of Commissioners voted last week to have county staff prepare for the Guilford County to provide $2 million toward the project, and the board is expected to finalize that funding very soon. Others, such as the City of Greensboro, the Joseph M. Bryan Foundation of Greater Greensboro, and the state of North Carolina may also help fund this major expansion of the museum. Alston said that he has never ever profited from the museum and said the whole point of the project was to preserve the historical site of where the civil rights sit-in movement began in the 60s and to call attention to the critical important role that the sit-in and the Woolworth's lunch counter played in advancing civil rights in this nation. He said he wants it to be a place where people's minds are open and they are educated about civil rights and the history of the movement. I've never made a penny from the museum, Alston said, acknowledging that over the years some of his critics have made the allegation. He said that in fact years ago he took over a $60,000 loan the museum had on the books to help the museum succeed. Alston said that he had no desire to collect his commission as long as the $250,000 would go to the museum and not to the seller's agent. In accordance with state law, Alston has stayed completely out of the funding discussions since he was a co-founder of the museum. Before the Board of Commissioners held a discussion on giving the museum the $2 million on Friday, March 18th, Alston left the meeting room in the Burrow Mill Clubhouse and stood out by his car, making phone calls. The photo above was taken through the window of the. All right, man. Let's just stop right there with this bullshit, man. Pardon my French, but let's just stop here with this bullshit, man. All right, let's go back here, okay? Because I remember vividly, okay? Skip Alston, he was on the city council, right? He got the building against the city. They didn't want him to do what he did anyway, but he did it. Then they wound up in financial hardship, right? So then all of a sudden now they're gonna buy up the rest of the block, right? That's great. That's fine, right? But let's think about this here. Let's just stop the bullcrap. Anytime somebody says something twice, that means they're fucking lying to me, okay? He said it twice in the article. I've never took money. You got money. Why are you charging the people? Let's just stop right there. I've been to many historical sites, and if you guys watch my videos, there's many historical sites in this state. Historical sites of North Carolina. You do not pay to go to the historic sites of North Carolina. I've been to many. I've been to 6. I'm going to more this month, and I'm going to show you them. I'm going to record them. I record when I go to historical landmarks and locations, okay? I've been to the Stagville Plantation. I've been to Nina Simone's home up in Tryon, North Carolina. Jesus. I've been to the Palmer Institute. I'm going to more and more places, and I document them and I put them on my page. Okay, I've been down to back down east, doing the Underground Railroad. You know, the tour of the Underground Railroad back east North Carolina. Okay, uh, Halifax County. All right, so I go to different. You don't pay. You get to go in, touch the artifacts on some locations. You get the upfront. I'm trying to understand. I've been down to Atlanta, Georgia, the King Memorial. You don't pay, you donate. I've been to DC. None of the museums in DC you pay. I'm trying to understand, why are you charging people? That's why I've never been to the Woolworth sit-in. I have nothing against those great men that sat there. They played a part of history. David Richmond, Franklin McCain, God bless his soul. He died in 2014. Jabril Kazan, Joseph McNeil. Those are the Greensboro Four of the sit-in. Okay, and what I'm saying is, why are you charging? And that Woolworth, that is not even you don't even have that much in there, right? So why are you even charging people to come there? Okay? And this guy's saying he hasn't made any money off of it. Well, how you paying back loans that you took out on it? Huh? How you paying back loans that you took out on it? Why don't you have a historical sites marker? Why you should have done that. You should have done that. If you didn't want no money, you should have done that. That's why, folks, if they said you made money off of it, Alston, then you made money off of it. If there are folks in the city that said you made money off of it, you made money off of it, folks. Come on now. Like, let's just stop the bull crap, okay? You have historical sites all over this city. I mean, all over this state. Correction, I don't like people playing games, okay? I've been to DC, to the Smithsonian Black History Museum. I've been there. You don't pay, and that's one of the big. I mean, if you ever and guess what? They have the lunch counter from Woolworth there. So my question is this: is that the actual lunch counter? Because they have it. The Smithsonian has there. Everything the Smithsonian has in DC, that's the real thing. Okay? The Smithsonian of African American History in DC. I've been there. It's free. You can go there. It's free. They have the lunch counter there too. They have so much. You have to go see it. Okay? If you've never seen it, get there. I mean, all the museums there. If you're into it, you must go. Okay, it's free. You can go walk the tour, do the whole tour. Go the King Memorial, all the presidents. Go. Okay, if you never went, go. All right. So all I'm saying is, what do you mean? So if you ain't making no money, then who's making money, Alston? And another thing. It's a conflict of interest, and I'm trying to figure out. See, these are the things that I was talking about when I said these people get in these positions, in these county seats, in these city local government seats to further their self, to advance their self. What I'm saying is, it's a conflict of interest to me, period, that this is a commissioner where they handle zoning and all of this, and then you have a realtor company. You have property. You are a part of the sale of something that you, quote unquote, founded. You're not the founder of something that these great men, David Richmond, Franklin McCain, Jabril Kazan, and Joseph McNeil. You're not the founder, Alston. You're not the founder of something that wasn't lost. These men sat there, and my question for you is, all throughout this conflict of interest, to me, reading it, that's a strong conflict of interest. First of all, you work for the county, y'all handle zoning and everything like that, and you have properties, and you have a realtor company, and you are going to get a commission. Yeah, you didn't not take you don't. you know that if you took that commission, it's wrong because you know that it's already a conflict of interest. Okay, so let's just stop right there. All right, everybody's not stupid. All right, and people are watching. So don't think that people aren't watching. People are watching, and from my understanding, people been watching you, buddy. But you sitting. They got this picture in the Rhino Times where so you walked out the meeting when they start talking about the funding because you want to act like you don't want to be a part. You know you're gonna get the funding. You got people all up in there, right? But you go sit outside on a Corvette. Well, I tell you, people think people stupid, bro. So check us out. So all I'm saying, if you ain't getting no money, Austin, Skippy, well, if you're not getting no money, right? Then are you paying? Then is David Richmond, the Franklin McCain family, Jabril Kazan, Joseph McNeil, are you giving them any royalties for them ticket sales? And guess what? Why aren't you trying to make it a North Carolina historical site? My light keeps going out, folks. Now you got to short it. Hold on. Oh, there we go. So, are you know if you get the historical site mark, and I'm trying to figure out why don't you have that? Why isn't it labeled as a historic site? Once you got it in 2010 and y'all did all the renovation and everything needed to be done, why don't you have it as that? If you had it as that, you could not charge. I'm trying to understand. You have the Greensboro Museum down the street. They don't charge. Why are you charging, sir? I've always wondered that, and that's the reason why myself, I love history and all of that stuff. I like museums. It's very interesting to me, but I never step foot in there. You're not gonna sell me on the history. You're not gonna sell me my history. You're not gonna do it. I'm not gonna let our kind sell us back our history. Come on, man. I'm gonna pay you to go see some that's history, to learn about the history. I'm gonna pay you. Come on, man. The state has many historical sites all around this great state of North Carolina. They ain't charging the people. That's all I'm saying. Why are you charging? You could go to any museum in this country. They're not charging you. Why are you charging? A straight up museum anyway. That's all I'm saying. They straight up and they just trying to give you some history and everything. They're not charging you, okay? This guy, they have this museum, they charging. The International Civil Rights Museum downtown Greensboro, he's charging you. And he's saying he ain't making no money. Well, who's making the money? Well, I'm not going to be taking a loan out for something if I'm not going to be benefiting from something. I'm just going to take a loan out and it's not going to help me out somewhere. You took that loan out for this place, right? You saying you ain't getting no money back. How you getting your money back? You got to get the money back to pay that loan back, right? Come on, man. Like people got to stop playing. First of all, it's all the conflict of interest that you are your realtor company. You are the founder, and your realtor company is the company that is going to help in the sale of this the bank there. You're gonna get a kickback too. First of all, who in the freak is gonna turn down $250,000? If you turning that down, that means you're gonna get something else on the back end somewhere else, man. Come on, man. Stop playing. Stop playing. See, other people may run around here and don't be, you know what I mean? Like they ain't paying attention or they ain't. No. You can't just say goofy stuff or just say stuff and then just think like people. See, the thing is too, man, you got people that's these old timers that's in the politics. They think people are stupid. They forgetting that this ain't even the time when they came up, and this is a whole nother move right here. Like we have access to so much with the technology now that you just can't be selling people BS, man, and just thinking this ain't back in the day where people had to really go pound the pavement to go dig up information. You don't have to do that no more. Okay, so it only takes one second, okay, to get the info you need. And my brother Skip Alston, you need to quit it, my man. You know, because even since how long I've been living here, I've heard so many stories, man. And what I'm saying is that Greensboro, that International Civil Rights Museum, you dead wrong, my brother. You know, for trying to charge your own people and people, period, for history, my brother. It ain't no excuse you could give me. If you got to charge people, you should have left it alone. And at the end of the day, if you charging people and the Greensboro Four, once again, David Richmond, Franklin McCain, Jabril Kazan, and Joseph McNeil, if you are giving those gentlemen royalties, if they're getting some type of kickback, because you're using and you're benefiting off of that, you're charging, whether you're getting the money or not, you're charging for something that they sat down for 5 months. They sat at that counter for 5 months. You didn't do it. So if you created that to give them a kickback, like the money, not you created to give them a kickback, but they're getting some royalties from that. You cutting them a check every quarter or something. Then okay, maybe I can rock with that. Okay, then we could probably make some understanding of that. But don't just say it. We'll have to see that. We had to see some paperwork on that. You just can't come out saying like, oh yeah, they're getting a kickback. Nah, we had to see some paperwork on that, my man. You know what I mean? You'll have to present that to us. But I had to bring that up once I read this because I always had a feeling about that, and I always said, why are they charging people? You should allow people to do that. You could go to the King Memorial in Atlanta, Georgia, downtown. Okay? You can go on that tour. You could go in there. You can touch, feel things, and when you walk in, there's a bucket right there. You can donate whatever you want. Put in there on your way out, way in, whatever you want to do. And they have the church there, across from the museum. You have the Native American Museum up in the mountains. I'll be going there next. Not next, but I'll be going there before this year is out. Up in the mountains of North Carolina, here outside of Asheboro. I will be going there next soon. You know, because I got a couple other places, historical sites I'm going to be touching in the state, especially going down east of North Carolina, down around the coast. So I do this, and I enjoy it. So when I see someone profiting off of, and I'm not understanding, how are you doing? Now, I want to explain something else. Now, Halifax County, North Carolina, right? They have a small museum. And Halifax is a small town. They have a small museum dedicated to the Underground Railroad and everything during slavery in that area at the time. They're not even charging. And that's a very small town and county. They're not charging. So why are you charging, sir? I always wanted to know that. And you cannot make sense of that to me, especially not someone who's traveled around and been to different museums. And once again, like I said, you can go to any museum in DC. The Smithsonian Historical Black Museum, they have the lunch counter there from the Greensboro Four. So my question to you is, and the Smithsonian has real stuff. So once again, my question is that counter real there? Because the Smithsonian gets real stuff, okay? They have real artifacts, okay? They have all the real stuff, all right? So my question to you is that the real counter, sir, Skip Alston? That's all I'm saying. Because they have it there on display at the Smithsonian, okay? But you're charging people. I'm trying to understand something here. And I just made a correlation of Halifax is a small, they have a museum. It's not that big, it's small, but they're not charging folks. And that's a town, and in that section there, you have a lot of history, and you can do the walking tour. You can actually walk up on the jail that they used back in the 1800s. You can walk up on that jail. You can walk the trail. All of these things, you can touch the homes. There's grave sites there. You can look at the video. I have it here on my channel. So what I'm saying is, how are you charging, sir? And if there was no other way for you to do it, you should have left it alone. The best thing you could have did was just went ahead, and if you were so adamant about it, my thought would just go ahead and fit the bill and get the state to mark it as a historical site. But nah, you know, when I check back and I look at certain things and I see someone like it's a conflict of interest, you working for the county commissioners, you were on the board, the city, then you move to the commissioner, and then I look and see that you're in a real estate and everything, which I had already been knew that. It was just me setting up my things and getting around to you, my friend. But you are the person and the type of people that I talk about when I say you have people in the government that position themselves, even in the school system in Guilford County, and that's why everything is so crazy around here, because people they're here and they're really not here. They're not helping the people, man. You have county workers that's not getting that they should be getting, they just do. Meanwhile, you have these county commissioners getting these crazy, outrageous raises. You have city workers getting crazy, outrageous raises, and the people and the workers on the front line are getting the shaft, man. And it's like you want to keep the foot down, and it just amazes me. So anytime I hear people say, "Well, I know this person, I know this," but I didn't give who you know. These people are out here, they're blood suckers, man. And I've been paying attention to it for a long time. You just got these people out here, they blood suckers. It don't matter who you know, they're not helping. When you think about the education system, I don't care who you think you know at the Board of Education. The entire state has shitted on the children because they have violated the kids' constitutional rights. You can look on North Carolina's Article 1, Section 15 there to offer sound and basic education to every student in public school here in the state of North Carolina. So I don't care who you think you know in your downtown here in the state. They all been shafting. It's been a whole big brother thing where the county's been looking and saying, and most of these people that's in the education, like that works at the Board of Ed, they know about that Leandro case. And if they don't know, then they're really jacked up. So that even makes it worse. So you got those that know, like, hey, the state ain't even acknowledging that, so why should we be doing so much? And then this is what you have going on, and that's why places like Guilford County, all of these schools, 50 plus years old, struggling now. Everybody now these people, all from commissioners to the board, now these people want to act like we didn't know. Come on, man, stop the BS. Stop the BS. It's just a whole freaking game. It's like, man, you educate yourself and know how to move around these piranhas. Cause that's what's going on. It don't matter who you know. And let me explain something to you. If you gotta go to a buddy that's on the city or on the Board of Education, and they gotta do you a favor, then ask yourself why everybody not getting that favor you got. Ask yourself that. But you probably won't. If you're one of those that just looking for your own gain, you probably won't, because that's what's been going on. But just ask yourself, why did you ever have to do that? It should have been already offered to you when it comes to education. If it was a question or something you needed done for your child, you shouldn't have had to go to a person inside that you got connections with or grew up with to do something for you. It should have already been available for everyone, okay? Why is it being harbored? Why is it not being done? Ask yourself, you have to ask yourself that on every level. If you work for the county or the city, why? And then you got a buddy or whatever or that's inside, and you got to go to them to get the. Ask yourself. We're adults here. Step back and ask yourself, why isn't this offered? This is jacked up that I even have to go through this extent to get something that I need done that should be offered to the public in its entirety. See, people don't step back and think about certain things, the principles, man, and the morals and ethics and values, man, you know what I mean, of people. And when you have somebody trying to sell you history, I ain't down for none of that. You're not gonna sell me the history, man. When you can go out here and get a book in the library for free, when you can go on the computer and type it up for free, but you gonna sell me to come into a building that's historical? It's historic. Nowhere in this country that's something that is labeled as historic piece of property, a historic monument, you don't pay. That the state or county, the government deems as this is, you don't pay. You're welcome to come in here. Respectfully, don't damage anything. You're welcome to. This is looked at as, this is your right to see this. This is your you have a, this is your right as a U.S. citizen to see this piece of history. It's your right. And all I'm saying is, if you're charging Skip Alston, I hope that those four gentlemen, Frank McCain, I hope that his family is, you're giving his family some royalties or something. I hope those four men are receiving some royalties for that. Then maybe that can make a little sense. It'll be still different, but I hope it'll be that'll make a little bit of sense. You know, that'll seem that. I ain't gonna say it makes sense. That'll be like, okay, that's honorable. You know, that's something honorable to do. But I have never heard that those four gentlemen, I never seen anything on it. I've been looking, and I never seen anything on it that they were getting a royalty. But maybe I'm wrong. But I hope that somebody can share that with me. I want to see papers. Don't just tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the show me. Don't tell me. You know what I mean? Just like I present, and when I present things to you guys here, I tell you where I get it from and everything. I share my experience and everything. I share whatever I'm bringing forth to you. So please, if anybody got the information, like if the Greensboro 4, if they're receiving some type of royalty from that, then I would look at that as that's different, but is honorable, you know. But you're using those gentlemen' name, and then they're not getting nothing from it, and then you're saying somebody's making something from something. You're selling tickets for what? You know, why are we even counting how many people coming to visit it? Okay, if it's a historical site, they ain't gonna, like, yeah, they probably do count, but it ain't gonna matter. Like, hey, it's historic. It's a historical site. It's here. You come. You know, but it's here. It's labeled as that. The state is funding it. The state is taking care of it. It's here. The county or whatever is taking care of it. But see, back when you did it, Skip Austin, they told you not to do it. They didn't want you to do it, and left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. I remember it because I heard about it. It was a big deal. It was a big thing when you did it, you know. But whatever, man. There's always somebody trying to play Superman, but they got villain tendencies. You know what I mean? So yeah. That's just my time to this evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to give an update on the Leandro case and what's going on with the judges on that situation. They're on the third judge now in almost 30 years. I wanted to speak on the salaries of the city employees and how that's like a smack in the face for Greensboro. And I wanted to speak on the Skip Alston with this with the International Civil Rights and him, quote, supposed to be turning down $250K. You know, let's be real. Ain't you in the realtor business to make money? A lot of realtor companies, a lot of them been getting big bank over the last 2 years during this COVID. They've been getting big bank in the real estate biz game. And if you want to talk about, you know, inflation and price gouging and all that, it's really been happening in the real estate game, especially in this area, Guilford County, period. I'm steady trying to understand, like, how a house is almost $300,000, a house that ain't nowhere near worth that is costing that, and the average salary is not even close to that. the salary in the county and city, like it's not even close to what these houses are going for. And I just hope that people are playing smart in these times and don't get yourself jammed up, because it's going to wind up like the 2018 market when it crashed, and then the housing market was really jacked up and people got jammed up because once again the mortgage companies and banks were giving out loans to people that knowing that they could not afford that property, and then people were out of those homes. Okay, so what we have is the same thing going on again, but that's my time, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to drop in, and I'm sorry if I be watching and knowing so many things, man. But you gotta understand and know what's going on around you, and watching these people around you and seeing their moves. I just can't stand for people just to be saying anything to the people and thinking that everybody is ignorant, And even just because no one's paying attention doesn't mean they're ignorant. Some people like to turn the lights out and just go to bed because, well, it doesn't make sense to go outside and tell people to keep the noise down. It's just like, hey, well, man, I ain't gonna keep wasting my time doing it. So it's like some people just turn the cheek on certain things, which they shouldn't. You should not do it, because if more people pay attention the way that I'm paying attention and speak out, you pay attention to these people, man, it'll be less of this goofiness going on. Because see, people have this tendency they have old ways of doing these politics, and they're just not understanding that this thing is different today. You just can't be selling and telling anybody anything and thinking that everybody's just gonna rally behind you like, oh yeah. No, man. You got to make it make sense. And that's all I'm saying when it concerning this Guilford County with Skip Alston with the realtor. Like, that is a conflict of interest to me, period, point blank. And you got to make it make sense why you charging at the International Civil Rights Museum. I done been to many museums, brother. I don't even understand what you doing over there. That's why it has never interested me to go in there, because you're not going to sell me history. You're not going to sell me history that is history and is supposed to be free to the people. It happened on their soil. It should be free to the people. So, like, you're not going to charge me something that, come on now. I ain't even trying to get with that. I don't care what you talking about. And I done been to many museums. You're not gonna get that off on me, Jack. But and I don't care what if it was any museum that was even charging that, I would never go. Because you're not gonna. I don't care what it is. If it's history, you're not charging me history. Man, listen. That's just it, ladies and gentlemen. That's my time. I'm your guy Rashawn. This is Space Invaders TV. Make sure you spread it around. Let people know about it. Share it. Just don't keep information that I share. If it's new to you and interesting to you, share it with your folks. Because these are the things that I created this channel for, to each one teach one, to share common knowledge with people about the things that are going on around us, locally, nationally, and world. You know what I mean? So don't just hold on to this, folks. If you just stumbled across my channel here, stay a while, look around. I have many different things on my channel here. My channel's been in effect actually, since 2010. If you look at the history on my channel, I've been in effect since 2010. But during COVID, I chose to start back the channel again. It's been there, just was sitting dormant before COVID kicked in. And then during COVID, I just felt the need to start talking to the people and sharing knowledge that I had, and the things that I was seeing and how I was viewing the world. And I understood what was going on in local media, how they was just every day talking about the numbers, the death toll, blah, 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 and the unemployment rate. And I just wanted to transform people's vision and then give some inspiration and also give some, to get you out of the tunnel vision to see there's other things going on right now too as well, to channel your brain. And don't just get stuck there, because I knew it was driving a lot of people insane. And so that's where I rebooted the channel here, you know. But like I said, this channel has been around since 2010. My channel has been in effect. You can go all the way back and look at so many different things. Cause I started as a local. I had a local TV channel in Greensboro, titled GGN TV, and as time went on, years later, you know, I switched over to Space Invaders TV. I changed the name, just revamping everything. So yeah, folks. So that's the small history on Space Invaders TV. So share, and don't be shy to leave comments, folks. I mean, I'm not here to attack anyone, and I'm not saying everything that I say is Bible, but I just give you, you know, I lay out the information and then give you my point of view of what I think and what as far as what I'm seeing, you know, and how I'm viewing it. But when I lay it out to you, let me know how you viewing it. It don't have to. We don't have to view it the same. We don't. We can agree to disagree. You know, this is all about respect. This is not about me disrespecting the viewers or anything like that. I'm not even disrespecting and calling people out of their names, the people that I'm putting on blast. It's just me putting them on blast. Like, we're adults. You're just not gonna sit in front of people and just say goofy stuff and just think that we just gonna keep going on about the day like you just didn't say something that ain't make sense. Like, you're not, what you're doing is not a conflict of interest, or what you're doing is not wrong to the people. You know, like, come on, we have to hold people accountable, especially when they're in positions where they are to service the people. We have to hold them accountable, because if the shoe was flipped, and when the shoe is flipped, those same people are going to hold you accountable if they come and do business with you. Those same people that we are to hold accountable, they will hold you accountable if they come and do business with you. And they won't have no remorse and no feelings about it. And actually, those type of people will tell you it's nothing personal, it's just business. So that's what this is. It ain't nothing personal. It's just business. The people's business. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out. I'm going for real this time. Y'all have a good one. See you next week. This is Space Invaders. I'm Rashawn. I'm out.